Welcome back to Talk Law Radio. I'm Todd Marquardt here on 9:30 a.m. The Answer, and then later we'll be on Apple Podcasts and talklawradio.com. If you have a question about older Americans, senior citizens, or elder law, give us a call at 210-308-8867 or post a comment in the Facebook live stream. We're talking about Older Americans Month and the high cost of long-term care. That's one of the hidden issue legal blind spots. A lot of people forget to save money for that, and when you're older and you have medical conditions that require a caregiver, well, that costs money if your family can't provide it for you, or if they don't have the skills or the stamina to carry on like that. Then you hire people, or you go to assisted living, or you go to the nursing home. So I wanted to give you some cost estimates based on 2021 data. Genworth is a long-term care insurance company that does a lot of statistics on the cost of health care, because being a long-term care insurance company, they're the ones that have to pay for it. And so they keep data on what the average costs are. In Texas, it's estimated that the average cost of adult daycare is $856 a month. So that would be for an older person that goes to a program during the day just to do activities to get out of the house and maybe to receive some supervision. They don't really help with toileting or bathing. They're just a place for activities, kind of like a kid would go to, a summer program. If you have an older family member or neighbor or friend that needs a little bit more help at home, where they're not able to get out, or it's inconvenient or dangerous, then you might want to hire a caregiver to come into the home. Maybe a non-medical home care provider. If you paid for somebody to come every day, the average cost might be $4,576 a month. So most older people that I run into, they go from having no mortgage at all, or maybe a mortgage of somewhere around $1,000 a month, to this $4,500 a month payment that they have to make. And a lot of them are shocked and surprised about how expensive this is, and they think, how am I going to pay for that? If somebody needs a little bit more help, maybe assisted living is the key. And Genworth says that the average cost in Texas for assisted living facilities is $3,413. But I think that figure is becoming outdated. Maybe it's because of inflation, but I would say it's about $4,500 and going up. If somebody needs a little bit more help because they need a nurse in a nursing home, then you might be paying $5,232 for a semi-private room, or $6,935 for a private room. How many of you know what semi-private means? Not private. So it's just funny to me because of the terminology. But if you think about yourself, would you want to have a roommate if you were old and you needed lots of health care that was embarrassing to receive? Probably not. You'd probably rather have a private room, but that costs more money. So you want to consider that when you're saving in your monthly budget when you're in your 20s, 30s, 40s, 50s, and 60s. Okay, we're going to continue talking about money, but now we're going to talk about financial exploitation. This is when somebody takes money from an older person because of their reduced ability to handle maybe conflict, or they don't understand the nuances of how a person is trying to separate you from your money. So exploitation includes a caretaker's illegal use of a senior's resources for monetary or personal benefit, profit, or gain. Seniors may need help with their finances, but unless they hand over control to another person, they have the same right as anyone else to receive, spend, invest, save, or give away their money. I answer a lot of questions about this day in and day out. An older person doesn't lose capacity just because they're older. So this isn't always an obvious thing that you're going to notice that it's wrong for them to give away their money. Maybe it is, maybe it isn't. Because somebody that does have capacity is allowed to make bad decisions if they want to. They just have to have the capacity to do that. That means no medical condition that is impairing their ability to make decisions on their own. If they want to give money to their grandchildren, that's their money. They can. If it's a bad decision because they're going to have less money to pay for home care, assisted living, and nursing home care, maybe that's a bad decision, but they're an adult. They're presumed to be allowed to make that decision. Are we getting a call? Okay. You can call 210-308-8867 if you have a question and you want to talk about Older Americans Month, senior citizens, or elder law. You can also post a comment in the Facebook live feed. So we're talking about elder law and exploitation of the elderly, and I was just saying that older people can make bad decisions with their money if they want to. Now, some bad decisions that I see sometimes are when an older person wants to go gamble their money. I don't think that's a good idea. But it's their money, and if they have no medical condition that's going to cause them to make that bad decision, then they can do that if they want to. There's a new law in Texas that was just passed a year or so ago. It creates an offense in the penal code for a person who knowingly engages in financial abuse of an elderly individual, including financial exploitation, committed by a person who has a relationship of confidence, of trust with the elderly individual. So that could be the agent under power of attorney or a trustee of a trust. And so banks are now empowered, or credit unions, financial institutions, to hold an account of a vulnerable adult upon suspicion of financial exploitation. So what that means is they can freeze the account. If you have a frozen account, you probably need to see a lawyer because banks and credit unions and financial institutions don't like to talk about why they froze the account. Okay. We're going to be talking about lifetime gifts versus testamentary gifts now. That's one of the hidden issue legal blind spots. Remember, we were talking about whether it was okay for an older person to give away their money or not. If they have capacity, that's their decision. Now, there are some unintended consequences of giving away assets during life. There's 4 things that you might want to be aware of. Ask your accountant, your financial advisor, and your attorney about these things. Is there going to be a tax consequence? Is there going to be a loss of control and enjoyment over that asset for you, the person that's giving it away? How is this going to affect the rest of the family? And will that have long-term effects on family relationships after the gift giver is gone? And then number 4, how is this going to affect an application for government benefits in the future? So this year in 2022, the annual gift tax exclusion amount is $16,000 per person. So if you give less than $16,000 to a person, you don't have to file a 709 gift tax return. If you give them $16,000 or more, then you have to file the 709 gift tax return. You may not have to pay a tax right away, but the IRS wants to keep track of gifts valued at more than $16,000 a year per person. That's one of the tax consequences that you need to be aware of. Another tax consequence that you need to be aware of, well, let's talk about that after the break. You've heard it here on Talk Law Radio from Todd Marquardt about Older Americans Month. Stay tuned.